talking to...
I am Karskens. I'm the community manager for Nosgoth, and I work at Square Enix in London.
Thank you very much. Excellent. Good to see you badge. I've got your name.
It's there somewhere. There is.
So, go on then, give us the heads up. What is Nosgoth?
Nosgoth is a free-to-play multiplayer game. It's a competitive game. It's humans versus vampires, team-based, really competitive. You work as a team with 3 other players, so it's 4v4, and it's set in the Legacy of Kain universe.
How much would you say it is bound by the law of that universe, or do you kind of take the bits you like and do what you like with it?
Well, we've taken a space within the timeline. I don't know how familiar you are with the lore yourself, but there's a space in the timeline that's about a millennium long where it's just chaos, basically. Kain is gone, you know, his lieutenants don't know what to do, they all start squabbling and fighting, it's just all out chaos among vampires. So the humans kind of try and take advantage of that and start building settlements and building up weapons and building up a resistance and trying to fight them. So at that point the vampires are like, okay, we need to band together, beat these humans, and that's when these two sides start clashing, and that's where Nosgoth takes place. So we have a lot of touches for the lore. I mean, the clans are all based on the clans from the Vampire Council from the games, the areas are all from the lore, and there's a lot of touches within each map as well, so it stays true to things.
But realistically, no, I think only the Legacy of Kain fans are going to care about that element of it. It's not that kind of game, it is.
Yeah.
PvP.
Yeah, it's a different game. I mean, so we take that slot in the timeline and we kind of wanted to do something different with it, make a multiplayer game, we take these two completely different sides, really strong sides, and make a game that is just, it's different to a single player game, but hopefully something people can connect with. It's just in a different way to a single player game. So you're part of that war, you're fighting that war every day with your friends, hopefully, as well, fighting every day humans versus vampires.
So you've currently got 4 classes on each side. 2 of them are new classes that have just recently been added.
Yes.
Tell us about those.
So on the human side we have the Prophet. She is a badass, has 2 flintlock pistols, uses blood magic, curses, steals health from vampires, gives them to her teammates, things like that. On the vampire side we got the Deceiver. He's a bit of a spy, so he'll disguise himself as a human, kind of sneak in the group and start backstabbing people. So up until then you knew who your teammates were, you knew when you were safe, but now it's anyone's game.
I have to say, having played the Deceiver, I think it's probably the easiest class to play because you don't get shot at quite as much.
Yeah.
Well, once you literally have to go into the danger.
Yeah.
And then even when you're on your own half the time, you can't go in with a load of other vampires.
Exactly. You have to stay away from them, pretend they're the enemy, and kind of try and play a bit strategic, like, oh, I'm at a health station, I'm pretending to heal, and things like that. So you kind of try and deceive people.
How have you found the feedback with the 2 new classes, and how is it balanced with the other classes that are in there?
That's a constant process with us. I mean, you'll see that we do patches all the time to tweak abilities and classes and maps as well. So everything is really balanced, at least we feel. But I mean, it's not a process that ever stops. You know, whenever we add a new ability or a new map, everything gets tweaked to make sure that that balance is like the best it could possibly be.
As far as the 2 sides go, you've got the humans, and from my point of view, something that has played it a little bit, I would say that in general the 4 classes are very similar. They kind of like got their own little tweaks and twists, whereas the 4 vampire classes are completely different.
Wildly different.
Completely different.
Yeah.
But how do you go about balancing something like that? When you decide, okay, we're going to put a flying vampire,
yeah.
It's like, well, that's really just kind of changed.
I know, and what game does that? So it's not something that really gets trialed by other people that we can kind of base everything on. I mean, it's a process that we go through a lot of testing whenever we add anything. I mean, we play the game ourselves as well. We've got QA guys, we test everything, and then we send it out. I mean, we are in beta right now, so we send it out into the wild so people can try it out as well. So that stuff constantly goes through tweaks and changes. And yeah, I mean, like you say, it is quite different to play each vampire class. I mean, the humans, you know, if you played a 3rd-person shooter or a 1st-person shooter, you'll get to grips with stuff pretty quickly. But then you change to the vampire side and it's like you have to relearn the game. And that's one of the things we loved when we were making this game, is to just have that dynamic where, you know, you're not totally familiar at the offset with how to play, and then halfway through the game it switches up as well. And you have to play both sides.
Well, I mean, listen, as far as the game goes, those who haven't seen it, you play 1 match, we can play 1 round for both sides. So you start with someone and then switch over and play again.
Exactly.
So, having made it a little bit, I would argue that it was on the boring side and you're waiting to just get that round over so you can like get on your vampire. How do you find the community? Do you have...
It really differs, and it really differs depending on the skill cap as well. We find that when people get to a higher level, that teamwork with humans makes so much difference that a lot of people prefer playing humans when they get to that higher level. Maybe initially they like vampires because it's new and different, and you know, you're really powerful when you're up close. But then when you're playing as humans, there's a lot more strategy involved and kind of team play, and it really changes depending on the player as well. Because a lot of people prefer vampires. Then I talked to a lot of people today that were like, oh, it's all about playing humans for me, and for me that's what it is as well. I prefer playing the human side.
See, I think you're right in that. I think when people first start playing it, the vampires you can almost go solo.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're solo as a human,
you're dead meat.
You're down straight away.
Yeah.
So as far as that kind of element from the solo play versus the team play, if you're saying kind of having people as they get to the higher levels, they're kind of preferring the humans. How do you kind of tweak that for people like maybe not wanting to play the vampires as much?
Yeah, well, the different abilities come into play there as well. I mean, you need to match up. You can't just stick with a certain class or a certain ability as well, because you know, you might find that if people start camping, the kind of abilities you had before aren't that effective, and you might want to get a choking haze, which is a poison cloud in there, to try and break that and get people out of a building. So it's constantly changing depending on what the situation is that you're in as well.
So as far as the game is currently still in closed beta,
yes. Yeah.
When you expecting open beta, and then any idea of a release?
Well, we don't have any announcements on release yet, but we are targeting this winter for open beta. And we are in closed beta right now, and we have a registration on the website for anyone that wants to get invited. And we have our founders packs on there as well that give you early access as well as a bunch of other goodies. And we are doing key giveaways with sites and streamers as well, so there's a bunch of different ways to get in.
So if you're saying that open beta this year, basically.
Winter.
Obviously you just added in 2 more classes. Can we expect anything else to be added in before then?
We are working on a whole ton of stuff. Yeah, we have a list of features we want, and it feels like it's growing every day. Even as we play it, we're just adding stuff ourselves, and based on community feedback as well. So we've got stuff coming up for esports to support that more competitive side of things. We've got 2 new classes as well coming up that we have teased through the menu that people have hopefully seen. So there's a new human and a new vampire coming up, but I can't tell you anything about that yet. I know. And then new maps, new modes. It's just, it doesn't end. We're going to keep adding stuff.
As far as the open beta is going, as far as testing is going, how have you found it in general? Has it been a good experience so far, and what's the feedback been like?
Yeah, really good. I mean, I think some people have preconceptions about the game, you know, and if they haven't played it, they might have an idea of what it is, but we found that people that play the game just connect with it right away and just love playing it. I mean, especially when we bring it to shows like Gamescom here, people sit down and they just can't stop playing. It's been really great.
I'd agree. I'd say for those that haven't played it, definitely go over to the website, register, try and get involved.
Nosgoth.com.
You can get in and you can start playing it pretty easily, and it is a lot of fun, I found. Especially if you're a flying vampire, you've already seen it. So thank you for spending a few moments to give us a chat.
You're very welcome.
Tell us all about it. So thank you. Enjoy the rest of Gamescom, and we'll go.
And you too. Cheers.